On today's Minute of the Apes, I get to do one of my very favorite things, which is to point out how music drives a chase scene.
Take your sticking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
What is the divine bomb?
The only good human is a dead human! Where there is fire, there is smoke.
The minute of the apes. 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 Yay!
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd. We haven't heard from Richard or Sean yet. Do I have Richard and Sean with me? I don't. It's all me today.
Sean, you're still on mute.
I keep forgetting. I want to mute it during the intro since we're now doing that live because every now and then I sing along. I don't think people want to hear that.
Take drinks of water. Rumble around in the toolbox.
Well, I admit to, once that song gets going in my head, it doesn't go away. And so probably for the next couple of days, a Minute of the Apes. Damn jingle shit.
Earworms.
Yep. All right. So here we are, minute 14. We're going to come today to a moment that we've had a ton of in the Apes films where we have a chase. We have lots of chasing and not lots of exposition. So do we want to do any other setup than the fact that, look, this is right after Aldo loses his shit, tears the classroom up,
And
teacher.
the teacher's hot footing it.
Yeah.
Our hero finally reveals himself.
Yes, and but I need to say, and I teased it, the hero of this moment is Leonard Russman, who wrote our music. And the reason I say that, I wanted to point this out ahead of time because so often we don't really think about how much the music drives something. And what I want you to listen to when we listen to this today, these are a succession of shots of Abe being chased, the gorillas giving chase, and it's the piano runs that give us the feeling of feet moving. And I believe what he's using is called it's the minor pentatonic scale, and he just goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, and it gives that feeling of it happening. So with that, Sean, tell us exactly where we start and where we end.
All right, we're going to start minute 14 with gorillas leaping out of the classroom and ends with Virgil coming up and saying, "Oh."
All right, well, let's take a listen. Minute 14. Listen for that piano.
We'll teach the teacher a lesson. Throw him in the corral where all humans belong.
I said stop, Aldo.
He broke the law. With his own mouth, he broke the first law.
I am the law. What has he done?
Caesar!
As in minute 14, we have a village's worth of apes and humans.
All right, so first off, is that piano run just not the best thing in the whole world?
It is, yeah. No, it's great.
But what I do love about this chase, and it's a pretty rudimentary chase, we get shots, camera on a crane coming down from the tree houses, looking at the apes below as the chase sort of disrupts things. And
you get the movie tropes of I'm running through a crowd, so I have to push people out of my way.
Absolutely. But what I do like is that throughout it, we get to see more and more of this village. We see the things where they're cooking, they're sharpening things. Mm-hmm. We've got fire going.
Just the humans.
Right.
Just the humans are doing all of the tasks. The chimpanzees and the gorillas and the orangutans we see are merely just walking.
Walking about.
But
But they also trust humans enough to at least let them sharpen an axe, so they're giving them a weapon that can be used against them and trusting them.
Right, to rise up if they wanted to, but they don't even know
Yeah.
their names anymore. So is it going to matter? I mean,
Well, which
Yeah,
makes
but-
you think, do the humans even really want to rise up? Outside of what Aldo does to them, humans are treated, it seems, with respect beyond that.
I mean, they're cohabitating, but they're doing all the chores.
Yeah.
I mean, did something happen in
The
this
cooking,
particular-
the hammering, yeah.
the cooking, the hammering, the cutting of the wood, the sharpening of the axe, the washing of the laundry. We see in the scene. We see somebody
Pulling a
making,
cart.
we see somebody making candles. It really, and they're all wearing kind of the same drab outfits versus the orangutans and chimpanzees and gorillas who have uniforms.
Well, to that point, I'm really happy to see orangutans back in this, considering that we so scarcely
Not in
saw them in
the previous one,
You'd
yeah.
have one or two shots here and there where they were there, but it's nice to see them. The village is very cool. It culminates around the 30-second mark when Abe runs to an area where a woman is washing clothes in what appears to be a stream that has a bit of a dam in it.
I think they just threw that in there. There's no reason for a dam. It was just kind of a weird little, here's a little rock structure in the middle of this small little pond.
I know.
I'm trying to think of the CrossFit equivalent of this, where you're chased by gorillas, you have to run over a pond, there are people in your way, you've got to shove up, but you've also got to be running awkwardly up, straight across an angle so that one foot is higher than the other one.
We're going to stop you at this perfectly placed moss rock that you're going to trip over so that the gorillas can actually catch you.
Well, there's a lot of convenience to that, too, because when you go to that rock, you happen to be, now, you can make the case that Abe ran there intentionally, but you
That's
happen
what
to
I
be...
think he was doing, because I thought he was going to get to Caesar's house, touch it, and say, I got the base, you can't get me now.
So we assume that's where he's
I'm
running,
safe.
right? I didn't first think he was running to Caesar's house. I didn't know where he was running to.
Well, no,
it
I
just
didn't
looked to
know
me
where
like he
he
got
was
caught
running.
and Caesar saw it,
I didn't know where he was running until he was there, but I assumed that he was running to get Caesar.
Yes, I agree with you. I think if you put two and two together, the convenience that he ends up there is a little too heavy. I think he's running there intentionally. What I miss in this moment, and I can think of moments in the last three films where we see the type of filmmaking that he runs there, and you hear the voice off camera, stop, and everyone looks, and then we would slowly maybe follow a pair of feet walking down something until
you're behind him as he's in his house, as he comes out, and it's yeah,
something like that, where you see them kind of give reverence to, and you do see that in these new, and again, I know these are more to our filmmaking today. They're given bigger budgets. They're allowed to explore these things. But what we get instead is roughly around 39. We finally get a camera move over to see Roddy up in a treehouse looking down at the apes as they hold teacher.
Yeah.
Although, do you think they got it bad? They got it bad. They got it bad. They got it bad for teacher.
Yeah.
I was going to comment this particular scene because there's a chase scene going on and Roddy's up in a tree. Just my compliments, having watched Tenet last weekend. My compliments to the audio and sound guys for being able to get so much good audio. We can hear everything anybody says, even during the chase scenes. We're really catching even if it's voiceover, it's done really, really well.
So I take that as your very slight reference to the fact that you almost are required to turn the subtitles on if you want to watch Tenet.
I turned them on. I had to.
I did too. About 20 minutes in, I was like, "That's it."
Too.
But I'm just saying that even in the prior films, who's ever doing the sound or the mics is doing a great job.
Yeah,
of the voiceover work because the audio levels sound fine. And I can hear Aldo perfectly when he's running. I can hear the movement of the shuffle of the feet without taking over the sound of the of his audio. He still sounds like he's a little bit out of breath. We've also got Roddy calling from on high. I just thought it was well done, and it felt like that for the rest of the entire movie.
I agree. The sound
entire
mixing,
first part of the movie we've seen so far.
The sound mixing on these is always good. I know that if you read what Roddy said, they had to overdub almost every line they did because the makeup made them sound like they were talking behind a plastic bag, and that makes sense. they could hear it well enough on set. You go back to what Anthony Daniels said in Star Wars. He couldn't hear anything because he had all that stuff on him, and then they go back and overdub. But they did this because you couldn't understand them. But the mixing is great. We're never left to wonder what's being said, who's saying it. God, you go watch Tenet. Jesus Christ, there are times where I swear to God, the first 15 minutes of that movie, I was like, what is going on? Simply because I couldn't understand anything.
Well, when the protagonist is talking and he's on the boat and the agent it's not Carlson, but it's somebody who looks like Carlson, is talking to Tennant on the boat, all I hear is the fucking water, the splash from the boat and the wind walking by. I'm like, who did this? Who recorded this?
Well, see, that's why I think why they really wanted Tenet in the theaters is A, you had to see it once to see it. B, you saw it a second time to understand it. And then the third time you saw it to actually hear what they were saying. So they wanted like a triple dip in the theaters, but they didn't get that.
Well, what was interesting is, did you see that Chris Nolan actually replied back about the audio? Because, he's already gotten that rap on a number of films before.
On Bane, yeah.
Yeah, that Bane at times, it's like, what? I get it. I like his accent. I like that kind of muffled talk, but you need to make it sharper so I understand it. But with Tenet, he apparently got uppity with some fellow filmmakers that actually wrote to him and said, Chris, we can't understand this film. It's too muddy. And he said, I heard a lot of people say that on Dunkirk as well. Well, yeah, I agree. I like Dunkirk. Good movie. I couldn't understand it, Pay attention. Make things easy to understand. Wow, that was a digression, but there we are.
Back to this movie. So, Richard, do you think Cornelius would do good in Mega City 1 as a judge coming out saying, I am the law?
Well, that's Caesar, not Cornelius.
I mean, Caesar, sorry.
I do want to say, just as a note with Abe, as he's running through, he pushes a lot of apes out of the way.
That's
maybe
what I'm
you
saying.
shouldn't actually shove some of the apes out of the way, Abe. He didn't really shove any of the people. He shoved a lot of apes. Get out, apes, get out. I'm like, you're not making any friends right there, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the old movie trope when you're running away in the city. People are always in your way, and you've got to shove them out of the way. Move the food cart, push that up.
Knock it over.
I'm surprised there wasn't garbage cans that he pushed over so that would block them for a second.
Threw some marbles down from some child that was playing with jacks or something. I don't know.
I would have liked
My cart.
I would have liked to see.
Stable.
I'd have liked to seen Abe a little sweaty too after this chase. He comes here and he doesn't. He looks like maybe he went for a leisurely little walk.
You don't know that he doesn't do running in the morning. He can do some cardio. This might not be that big a deal for him. It's just that apes gorillas who are stronger and faster than him caught up.
Okay, but if I'm wanting to show him distressed, if I'm making this film and I want to show him distressed, I put a little sweat somewhere on him that shows he's exerted energy to get away.
But we didn't really get any tights of him either to kind of see that too much.
Okay, but you've got this wide shot that has Caesar looking at Aldo and all the gorillas surrounding him. You could pit out his, stain out his pits. You could put a little sweat somewhere. I've been watching the series Manhunt that's about Richard Jewell, and they did when he decided to reconstruct how he could not have been the person to make the phone call and do the bomb. And that dude that was in Mindhunter, plays Richard Jewell, he runs, and when he comes back, he's sweaty. People, they sweat, especially in times when they're afraid they're going to get torn apart by a big-ass gorilla.
It's really just a particular something that was overlooked.
Yeah. But you're running and gunning. You're trying to make this movie quickly. By the way, Sean, you made me think of it earlier. That show last night, your whole thing about how TVs are conveniently turned on and you get the exact thing you want. Somebody goes to a character and says, you're going to want to turn on the news. You're not going to like it. Literally turns on the news and he goes, and this just happened. It's like, are you kidding me? It is so bad. Go in a commercial or something, those kind of things. Anyway.
Well, you know why they're doing it, because it's just the whole thing. Like when you're on a telephone, they don't ever show the, hey, what's going on? You doing good? Yeah, I'm doing good too. All right. Yeah. Now we get to the conversation. They're cutting to the chase instead of turn on the TV. Hey, there's an ad for Sky Rizzy. All right, I'm going to watch this for 30 seconds. Yeah. Oh, no, wait, now they're doing another commercial. Oh, now we're to the news now, and now we're going to do, it's a package before that. Okay. Now we're to what I want to see.
It's the economy of storytelling. You're just trying to get A to B.
That's why nobody ever says goodbye when they hang up a telephone.
Now, when I go back to this shot that I was complaining that Abe's not sweaty and we have Aldo talking to Caesar, I do love the construction of this shot. We've got these gorillas that are very dominant to this scene.
Right, and Aldo has his hands kind of around the teacher.
Right.
Is
And
he going to teach